Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase. Okay, so I haven't done any more of this just yet. We're just running with the one revised module, but there were a couple more things that I felt I wanted to do. So in particular, we want to move. Whoops, get out of map mode. We want to move this these stations down a little bit. So I guess what I'm going to do is let's make a blueprint of what we have here. I need up to the stations. I don't really want the pipes or these other bits, or do I? Do they matter? No, I don't. I don't want the pipes. I don't want the robo ports. Or that. But I think I do want the other stuff, so let's just put that there. Whoops. That is not quite what I wanted to do. I forgot one thing that I wanted to do. It's a little check mark that I have not used really too much, or possibly even ever. This one's, I want to keep the station names. Now, we don't want to move those. We don't want to worry about that, or that, or that. But otherwise, I think I want everything. And then I want to move it so that it's more or less a lot more even. I'm going to have to wait for this train to exit. Let's just check and see if there are other trains, because this is obviously a bit of an issue, having this huge angle. At least these are starting to empty now. Having that huge angle for distance that the bots are having to travel. Good, that one is leaving. I just want to check if there's bots, if there are trains on the way. Doesn't look like it, doesn't look like it. No, doesn't look like it. So we should be safe now to rip all of this up. So why am I hesitating? Well, who knows? Let's go. Oh, the other thing is, what are the two published destinations? One for the iron and coal for the coal. Alright, so let's go then. Yep. Rip up all of that. I don't really want all of the... Oh, this is going to give me all sorts of junk, isn't it? Yep. I'm really going to love all this junk. Alright, before it succeeds in giving me all of that, let's go to our trusty InviniZoom and find roughly where we want to place the new stops. Okay, so I'm thinking that maybe I want to zoom in a whole lot more. That's what I'm actually thinking. So that leaves about 2. That leaves about 2. I think something like that. And let's come up here. Right, you need to start requesting coal again, so you can have all of mine. Alright, can we get rid of some coal into there? No. What about some plastic into here? No, what about if I lay down a few extras and just start transferring plastic and iron directly in there. Does that help at all? Not really. Okay, what about if I tell you to order plastic in the amount of 4 or 5k. This was certainly opening up a can of worms. How about if you order 5k of the iron plates? Yes, they're full already. Okay. How about that then? Can we have this infrastructure rebuilt? Thank you. Apparently not. Well, anyway, so I also want to move this over as well, using that same functionality on the blueprint where you can specify the station names to save me having to redo it all and just move it hard across here. They're not travelling that far, but I would rather they travel the least possible distance. Period. So yeah, I'll give you another update soon. And back. So what I have done is I have moved, as you can see, well, I've finished the second one. I have moved the train stations for these iron, coal and plastic down. I have moved the rocket fuel over so it's a little bit closer. This is running a little bit more healthily than it was, I think. But it's basically, we're also 2/3 of one of the old stacks of production down at this point by having swapped them over, so we need to start putting in some of the new ones. To that end, what I might do is, well, this will be the next one, I guess, the next cab off the rank, so to speak. I might just slap some of my things in there, like these. Something like that. We can turn off some of those. Now, what I want to do is add in the extra tracks. So we'll use this for the first 4, and then we'll have a secondary set of tracks for the next 4. To do that, I'm basically going to need to extend the height of this in stack, which should actually be relatively easy. And actually, I can get rid of this oil. Well, I can get rid of this train stop that's serving no purpose while we're about it. And if we make a quick blueprint, this is kind of reusable, I guess. So I basically want to raise it up by, you know, about that amount, maybe actually slightly more. Let's take slightly more. A little bit more to work with. Yeah, that's probably about where I would like it to come in instead of where it does currently, so that I have this much space at the bottom. And then over here we can, well, it looks like we're going to want a little bit more lead in, like so. Oops. That wasn't very successful. I actually deleted the bit that I wanted. There. Yeah, these angled ones are just a tad difficult to get rid of, but as soon as we're around that corner it should be a little bit easier. Whoops. Almost went too far just then. And let's use the signal one to get rid of those, because they don't really help. Did go too far on this one. So that gives us a little more height to play with, which we will play with, because what we will do is basically come down here and we don't need these bits, but I basically want, does that work? I guess so. So hopefully that will work. So now this one here, this will be a second way in. So that can head off down like so. And there'll be an exit also coming along here. Like so. That actually needs to go like so, and have oops, something like that, and something like that. This one's probably safe to have signals on it. This other one, though, probably can only really cope with chain signals. And now this is the exit one, isn't it? So basically, from, no, not from there. Oh yeah, from there? No, still not far enough. Okay. Okay, I think it's from here then. Yeah, so these, instead of just connecting along to here, will actually hook up here, and so there'll be kind of an express route out for the back, starting with number 5. That's the general idea, but let's make sure that we have both of these paths in place first. So they actually go somewhere. And yeah, the way in does pretty much need to be a long chain signal only. But the way out, on the other hand, whoops, that's gone too far. Get rid of all of that. And likewise get rid of all of that. What we want to do is have this basically come up like so, which means that this part doesn't exist anymore, and nor in that case does this. And likewise, this has to come in like so. Get rid of that, get rid of that, and get rid of this. And now, the way out can have a bunch of normal signals to help trains get out. We don't need too many of them. Just every so often. There we go, something like that. And there you go, that one is actually pathing along our new path. So that is excellent. That lets us set up some additional of these thingies. Now I might actually grab a new blueprint. I know, because I don't have enough, right? And what we want is basically from here. No, does it matter if I get that? Well, we're getting it now, so never mind. From there to there inclusive. Get rid of those bits down there. That is the revised. We want station names. Actually, I'll click tiles as well. I probably don't have that concrete. But we can always get some. And then the bots will lay down the concrete for me. Let's get into InfiniZoom so we can see, whoops, so we can see this whole thing. This one should actually sit on top there, like that. Let's just get it a little bit further out in InfiniZoom so we can see absolutely everything. So that's basically what we're trying to do. Might just come back in a little bit, down a little bit further so that I can get a slightly more zoomed in look. There. So that's adding in our 6th. Now I know I don't have all the resources for this, so we're going to have to run back and get them. But it's certainly a lot easier than the process by which I was taking them out. Actually, maybe I'll just go 6, 7, 8, so they're all there, and then we'll see what resources we need. Let's zoom in a bit. That is right, isn't it? I haven't made a mistake with that. Yes, I think so. Oh, we're almost out of rail. On our person, not out of rail in total, but on our person. Rail and all these other things. But yeah, that's the general idea. Is it actually putting... Oh my goodness. I think it's actually trying to put my water fill down. Well, that's very helpful. Okay, so we need a bunch of tanks. I knew this end was always going to be a lot easier. Of course, it's going to delay us seeing what sort of benefit we're getting out of this whole process, but that's kind of okay. And obviously where I've connected to 5 with these extra bits has obviously means a little bit of additional signaling here, but that's not too bad. Now the one thing that I've just realized is when I redo this, this is actually going to be slightly disjointed in terms of size, but I don't think it's going to matter, probably. I don't know. Let's not worry about it for the moment. Yeah, because this isn't joining up exactly right up here. That's probably okay. And certainly it looks like we did give it enough room. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, hang on. Have I only put 2 down? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've only put 2 down. I'm an idiot. Okay, well let's stamp down another one. Actually, let's put it away for the moment until we're in position, because that will give us slightly more UPS to get into position. Which, you know, is fairly worthwhile. And yeah, matching up this one for... And no, we actually do not quite have enough for the third one. So I'll have to run back and get a little bit more landfill to sort that out. We're also going to need a bunch of additional tanks, because that's something that I didn't kind of plan on, as well as here's a good place to dump a lot of material, except of course the medium poles that we don't need nearly as many of as we originally used. But there's a few things, so I guess I will make a short cut while I attend to getting some landfill and ordering some tanks so that we can fill this out, and also topping up with some rail and a little bit of the other stuff that we're trying to dump, and see you very shortly. So back with a bunch of landfill, and I threw in some beacons and so on, just so we have a little bit of stuff to play with. What we'll do is we'll just basically sort out this final segment, and I will probably try and do the bulk of getting all of these guys done off camera. How much space did we actually need? That's the question, isn't it? Again, it's a lot easier to run down here. When we don't have the blueprint out. Right. So it's really only about one width, so we may actually have more, like one full, if I take this out to like a maximum pattern like that, that's probably about as much as we need. We're also going to need a bit of that as well. Concrete. Yes, this should be enough additional landfill. These stupid slow bots will eventually catch up. So, yeah, I mean, because I found out how... oh, I actually ran out of landfill. Well, this is the worst of it. Do we try... Whoops, not that one. Do I try and place... I suppose not. I suppose I go back and... get enough to fill the rest, which isn't that much. I guess that could be another quick cut just to do it, but I'm on a thought, so I want to finish my thought. Yeah, we'll, because I kind of am under the realization that I'm just constantly chasing my tail in terms of trying to get the factory to a point where I've done all of the optimizations I can do by myself for seeing the sort of UPS we're getting from a purely absolutely native, aside from the fact that obviously I've got this mod and I've got SpaceX in here as well in the whole process, and the things like the auto deconstruction planner and do they call it planner? Anyway, auto deconstruct mod. That's not very good. Oh, you're trying to come back to fill up, of course. Yes, that's fine. Aside from those things that have no impact on your ability to produce, and you don't make a lot of sense, do you? So we have a fully vanilla-esque. I think it's still going to be vanilla-esque even when we have the cargo capacity infinite research for bots. They do make it slightly easier to make your designs work, I guess, from the point of view of being able to how do we put this? I don't really need all of that. Because the bots are carrying less, you don't need necessarily as many roboports because you don't need as many bots. The power issue is a non-issue because we could just roll out more solar to the cows come home. We have 1.1 million already, so it's not like power is really an issue. See, 1.1 million solar panels. They're capable of producing 66.8 gigawatts when they need to recharge the accumulators. When they're not recharging the accumulators, of course, it's not quite such a big issue. And these silly bots are still trying to catch up. I might drop into our little store that we made over here at the third original design and pick up a bit more stuff out of there as well as we go back to finish off our blueprint. But yeah, once this gets to 330, we're going to switch over to the cargo capacity research, and I do believe that that will have a fairly significant and positive benefit to the UPS. We're probably suffering a little bit from construction. So construction manager is almost one by itself. Logistic manager, rather high. And of course trains is insane. I have been looking at some of Nilaus, and in particular his playthrough with the LTN, the Logistic Train Network. And you know, it's an impressive thing, the whole LTN. But I think I probably did make the right decision in building my own. Not to, I don't mean that in a capacity to diss on the LTN, but just it creates both ends of the trip. Both the so it seems to start off with generic trains and create a whole delivery which involves going to a supply station, picking up the goods, then going to your delivery destination, which is really cool. But when you're really pushing to the ultimate of the ability to make every UPS count and create a gigabase right at the edge of what can be done, you need those trains now, right there, ready to roll in as soon as the last one has filled up. You need another train, which is why we've gone back and put pre-stackers everywhere, because those pre-stackers, whoops, never mind. Those pre-stackers give us the ability to, we only just had enough landfill, as it turned out. Those pre-stackers give us the ability to ensure optimal throughput on our ore processing. So there we go, that's the that is the 8th one. Let's just make sure everything looks good down below. I am going to need to change some of these train names. Yes, it tied in nicely, so that's good. Even picked up our path, so I need to pick up some concrete. It's probably actually going to require a trip back to base to restock the concrete, because it's sort of managed in a slightly different way. But yes, these new stops, they've kept the same train names, which is good to a point, but we probably need to change them. So this will be Northeast Iron 2. We don't really want it to be Northeast Iron 2. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It needs to be Northeast Iron 6 up here. Whoops, where am I? Yeah, these ones are 6. Not that it would cause, whoops, not 6E, 6. Northeast Coal 6. It won't actually cause a problem because the provider, train publisher, the train publisher is not, well, it's not even placed yet, but it's not enabled, so it shouldn't cause a problem. This one needs to be a 6 as well. but for the same reason it won't cause an issue. This one is a generic name. I think this is a generic name, and that one is a generic name, so they're all fine. And yeah, there you go, guys. So that's how we will lay down this bit. I will carry on off time putting these down. Certainly if this gets to 3:30, I'll have to start an episode again, because that's sort of where we're going to go with productivity research before we start on the bot cargo capacity. And it'd be good to see the impact of the cargo capacity as it happens. Hopefully I've actually finished all of this before then, though. I mean, they're not exactly that small anymore, 128,000 per research, so they are certainly getting up there. They're not quite in the ballparks of this, especially given that's 2-minute research, but they are getting up there. There we go. So given that it actually slaps down the tile for me as well, with a bit of luck I will be able to use that to more speedily do these guys as well. I didn't realise it would pick up the water tile as a tile to be able to slap down, but since it does, that's awesome. Anyway guys, I've been rambling on enough for this episode. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next, when we can finally see hopefully just how good the oil has been for our UPS. See you then guys, bye bye for now.